Please remember that the complete information for the class that you are about to view is at elithecomputerguy.com. Not only do we have our videos there, but we have part lists, diagrams, pictures, and even complete code examples. So if you are watching this video and you want more information, please go to elithecomputerguy.com. Welcome back. As you know, I am Eli the Computer Guy, and in today's class, I'm going to show you how to create a search function for your picture gallery with a MySQL database backend. So one of the most valuable things about having a database backend, whether it's a MySQL database backend or some kind of NoSQL database backend, whatever kind of database that it is that you can store a lot of different types of data about something like a picture within a table in the database, and then you can do things such as search for pictures based on that. So with the gallery that we have created up till now, one of the things that we have been able to do is we have been able to add tags. So if you look at any normal modern social media site, if you upload an image or if you upload a video or anything like that, you will be able to add tags to that file. Well, we've been able to do the same thing with our little gallery app that we've created. So basically we've been able to add tags. So with the pictures that I've uploaded, I've added tags such as puppy and dog and angry and all kinds of different tags there. And so what we're going to be doing today is we're actually going to be able to search for images based off of a specific tag. So we can say, I want to see only images that have a tag of puppy, or I want to see only images that have a tag of turkey, and then those images will show up in the feed, and I can then look at those images. So this is one of the things that really makes having a database backend very valuable for something such as an image gallery, because remember, with the images, whether they're JPEGs or whatever they are, PNG files or anything else, they only contain a certain amount of data unto themselves. They obviously have a file name, they have a file size, they might have some basic metadata stored with the image file, but there's not a lot that you can really do with that. One of the nice things is if you actually have a database back end, is when you add an image into your image application, you can add a whole bunch of other different types of data. So you basically can add things, again, such as tags, such as a description. When we get more complicated to this, we start creating user accounts. We can then associate images with specific user accounts. So then you could show only images for a specific user account. You can add timestamps. You can add a whole bunch of different data types, and then you can start manipulating how the gallery shows up based off of those different data types. So what I'm going to be showing you how to do today is, again, be able to search for specific images based off of specific tags and have only those images show up within your gallery. So that's a class that we're going to do today. We're going to go over to the computer right now. I'm going to give you a basic demonstration about how the end product actually works. And then we will go to the whiteboard just to explain the theory of what we're doing, and then I'll go and I'll show you the code. So here we are back at my demonstration machine. Again, the important thing to understand for this demonstration is all I need is the web browser. So I'm using a MacBook Pro, obviously with Safari, but you could use a Chromebook. You could use a Windows machine. Basically, all you need is a computer with a web browser, and then you're going to be connecting back to the web server that you've created that's storing this particular project. So I have a LAMP server, I have an Ubuntu server at 10.0.1.31, and I'm connecting to the gallerydb.php script that I've created there. And if we take a look at this, we can see that I've done some modifications beyond simply adding the little search field up at the top. So in order to have this search field up at the top, I actually needed to add CSS. So you see how this gray box at the top stays where it's at. I'm able to use CSS, and I use a position called sticky, basically in order to keep that div where it is. And so I was thinking, well, if I have to create a style sheet anyway, that's one of the things you have to think about with your projects, right? Up until this point, we haven't had a style sheet. I haven't really been worried about CSS. And so since I haven't been worried about CSS, we've just been dealing with PHP and HTML. And so the project has been very ugly. Functional, but ugly as hell. So one of the things that I thought is, well, if I already have to create CSS in order to create this little search box at the top, then why don't I do things such as actually make the gallery look a little bit better? So you will now see with this image gallery, I put a little little border. I put a little rounded border around each entry in the gallery. Then one of the things that I did is if I shrink, so basically if I shrink the screen, you can see that the image and everything shrinks along with it. So basically what I decided to do is I decided, well, if I have to do CSS anyways, I might as well make this a little bit prettier. And so just so you understand what's going on with that. So beyond that, so these are the image files that we've added up until this point. Again, we have the pic number, so this is pic number 14. This is the name, this is the description, and the important thing here that we're going to be dealing with today is tags. So this pic, the tags is just yay tags. The pic down here is angry puppy dog Peanut. The pic here is sleeping puppy dog Peanut, so on and so forth. So basically, you know, if I'm sitting here and it's like, okay, I want all the pictures that I've tagged as Peanut. I can go up here to the search tags field. I can say I want the pictures with Peanut, and I can hit submit. And now what we will see is only the images with a tag of Peanut are now showing up in the feed, right? So if I go here and I say, well, what if I want dog? I can do dog and I can hit submit. And so basically any image that has a tag of dog, that is now going to be in the feed. I had some pictures of turkey. So if I want to show pictures with a tag of turkey, I can hit submit. And now these pictures basically have been submitted and they have tags of turkey. And so those are the images that show up in the feed. So this is what we're going to be doing today. The important thing for what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be creating a search field. So essentially all this is a form. So this right here is simply a form that we tacked to the top of the gallerydb.php script that we created in the past. I've then used CSS in order to make that form sticky. And then as I've said, since we're already messing around with CSS, I figured, hey, why don't I make the site a little bit prettier anyways? And again, that's where we start to get this type of thing with the CSS. So with that, let's go over to the whiteboard so I can explain this a little bit more, and then I will show you the code. Okay, so let's diagram this project out one more time just so everybody has an idea of all of the different components. So the first thing that we have is our server. So we have a LAMP server. Again, LAMP stands for Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP, and this is our web server. In this server, basically we have a pics folder, and in that pics folder, all of our pictures are put into that pics folder. So that is the folder that all the pictures get dumped into, and it's very important that everybody or other has read and write permission to this folder. Now from here though, we actually don't deal with the pictures very much past this point. We're going to point to the pictures. We're going to say this is where the pictures are, but for all of the data and everything that we're going to be doing with the scripts, we're not actually interacting with the pictures. So that's an important thing to remember whenever you're going to be doing coding. One of the big problems with new people is they fixate on the wrong thing, and then basically they try to solve the wrong problem. So they basically, what they're thinking is, okay, how can I search for tags in the pictures, right? How can I do X, Y, or Z in the pictures? But you don't do that. You don't really deal with the pictures that way. Basically what happens when you have the form and you upload, basically you upload the pictures into this folder, what is also happening is in your MySQL database, you have a database called Gallery. And in that database, that gallery database, you have a table called pictures. And so as you upload your picture file into this folder, what you're also doing is you're creating a record within this pictures table, basically pertaining to this picture, right? So here we have the picture ID. So whenever we're going to be doing editing, whenever we're going to be modifying a file at all, the ID is very important because the ID is the unique identifier. It says this is the record that we're dealing with, right? So we have an ID. We used that in our previous project. Then we have the name. So basically what we use for the name here is basically we're giving the file path and the name for the image. So when we actually print out the gallery, right, we need to use that img src tag, and so we need to feed it something. And so basically the name here is, /pics / pic.jpg, right? So basically this relates to an image here so that when we dynamically write that HTML document and we're doing that img src tag, we're able to input this as the location of the image. Then past that, we have the description. Then past that, we have the tags. And then past that, we'll deal with later, is I also put in a timestamp in. So the important thing to be looking at today, right? So basically, this is our table. You know, we have ID 1, 2, 3, 4. You have the locations and the file names here. You have the descriptions here. The important thing that we're going to be dealing with today is these tags. So the tag can be dog, it can be puppy. This one can be turkey. This can be something, right? So basically, we have words in here that are the tags. So what's going to happen when we have our PHP form? So basically, we have that gallery HTML page that we've created, and at the top of it, we have the search box and the little submit, right? So what's going to happen now is essentially we're going to put into the search box a tag, such as dog. And then what the PHP script is going to do is it's then going to come to this table, and essentially what it's going to do is it's going to say any record with dog in it, let's say dog, right? Any record with dog in it, we are then going to print this out into our gallery web page. And so we're only going to be showing images with a tag of dog. If I go back and I put turkey in here, then it will only show images with the tag of turkey. So it's very important to understand the tags are not actually here with the pictures. Kind of sort of forget about that. The tags, all of the data is actually sitting in this MySQL database table. And so basically we're going to search. We're going to search under the tags column, and then anything that has dog or whatever tag that we're looking for, it will then grab that entire record, and then it will print out that record as the dynamic gallery, and that's what will get printed out. So this is the theory of what we're going to be dealing with today. And so with that, let's go over to the computer and actually take a look at the code. So here we are at my server. Again, this is an Ubuntu 18.04 LTS server, and it is the desktop version of Ubuntu. It's important to understand you do not need a graphical user interface in order to make this project run. I am simply using a GUI in order to make it easier for you to understand. This project should work on any distribution of Linux. So again, if you're using Red Hat or whatever else, that should work for you too. In order to create the lab environment that I've created, I did use something called Task Cell. So you can install something called Task Cell into Ubuntu. Then you run Task Cell, and then it will automatically install different types of servers for you. So I use Task Cell in order to install the LAMP server, Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. So it installed Apache, MySQL, and PHP with all the configurations, and it just runs. So that you understand that. And then as far as configuration files go, I did not modify the php.ini file, nor did I modify any Apache configuration files. This is the default standard. The only thing where this may be a little bit different for you is the file upload within php.ini. For whatever reason, when you use Task Cell, it defaulted to being on, so you're able to upload files by default with this php.ini file. If you're installing PHP on your own, you may have to look and verify that the file upload configuration is on. For many times, it is off by default. So beyond that, if we go and we take a look at the folder structure, basically here, there's the HTML folder. So this is the root of the Apache directory. We have a pics folder in here. This is where the pictures go. The important thing to understand with this pics folder is that the permission is for read and write for everybody or for other. So you need the write permission. So if you upload an image, you can actually upload it through a web browser. And then you need the read permission, because literally what can have happen is you can have PHP dynamically write an HTML document, but then if you don't have read permission for everybody, then when it tries to show the images, you just get a red box because you don't have permission to show the images. So with this, you do have to have the read-write permission for everybody or for other. Past that, if we go and we take a look at the database itself, so let's do sudo MySQL. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we go in, so we're in the MySQL database server here. We can do show databases. We show databases, and basically the database that we're going to be dealing with today is this database called Gallery. We then use Gallery. We're now in the Gallery database. We can do show tables. And now we show, so the only table I have in this database gallery is pictures. If we describe pictures, this will show us how pictures is built. And so we can have that, we see we have a pick ID field. So again, this is the field, the unique identifier for all of the records within the table. So we have a pick ID, this is a primary key, and it's auto increment. So every record is unique. Then we have a pick underscore name. It's important to understand with this pick underscore name, this is basically the path to the image. So this is period / picks / whatever the image name is. That's simply text. Pick description, just the description of the image. The important thing that we're going to be dealing with today is pick underscore tags. So all of the tags that we will add, this is where they will be stored. And then we have pick underscore added underscore time. This is basically just the timestamp. If we do go and do select all from pictures, we can go and we can see that we have quite a few different records here. Again, this is the pick number, this is the name for the pick, this is the description for the pick. Then we have the tags, so these are the tags over here, and at the end we have a timestamp. So basically what we're going to be doing with PHP is we're going to be running a MySQL statement and then simply outputting the results as a dynamic HTML document. So PHP is going to run the SQL statement, and then we'll then take the results from the SQL statement and then write everything out in HTML. So let's say when we're taking a look at this, we want all the records with, let's say, a dog in the tags, right? So basically we just want any record that has dog in the tag. So in order to do that, what we can do is we can do select. And so let's say select pick underscore name and pick underscore tags from pictures where pick underscore tags like. And so it's not equals to, it's like, right? So basically this is kind of like a search thing. So like, and they do space and do single quotation mark. And then what we do is we do the percentage sign. So the percentage sign in the MySQL world is basically a wildcard. So this says anything, any number of those things before dog, and then anything, any number of things after dog. So basically it's going to search through these tags, and any times it sees a dog, that will result in true, and that will give us the result. I then close with a single quotation mark, and then I do the semicolon, and then we hit enter. And so basically now we see is these were all the images up here, and now what we're getting is we're getting the pick name, and we're getting the pick tags, pick name and pick tags, anywhere within pick tags that there is a dog. So this is showing us the images with a dog in the tags. So that's basically how this works. Then past that, let's now then go and actually take a look at the code. So this is the code here. Again, I'm using Visual Studio Code. Once you start creating a bit more complicated code, it is better to go to a code editor or an IDE. For this particular project, we have 3 files. So we have the gallerydb.php file, we have the gallery search.php file, and we have the gallery style.css. So this is the style sheet. So we take a look at this. This actually looks very similar to what we've had in the previous projects. Now, one of the first things that you're going to notice is for the gallery DB, I have added the HTML information to the top and the HTML information to the bottom. The reason I've done that is in order to be able to add the CSS. So this is going to add a style sheet, the gallery style.css, so that when we're dealing with the divs, it knows where to go. So basically we open the head, we close the head here. Oops, let's just do that. We close the head here. And then the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create the menu bar at the top of the page. So we're looking at this code right here, and then we look at the demonstration. Basically, we're looking at this menu bar right here. This is the div that we're dealing with. So we go here, basically we see a div of a class equals menu bar. So within the gallery style.css, I've created a class called menu bar, and so everything within this will be there. So then the first thing that I have is simply the hyperlink to the upload pictures for database. So this is the project that we did before where you're actually able to upload images into the database. We're just going to leave that there. Past that, then when we go down, we then have a form. So basically we have a form within this div. And what this form is a form simply for one text box. So we have form action equals gallery search.php, right? So that means that when we submit for this form, it's going to go to this gallery search.php script. The method is going to be post. Then I simply write out search tags without any specific HTML. So when we're taking a look at it, this is what we're printing out right now. And then I'm simply having an input type of text, and the name is search tag. So this is what creates that search box. And then I have an input type of submit. So that's the submit button. And then I end the form, and then I end the div. So we go over and we take a look at the demonstration. So this is where we say search tags. Then we have a text input box. This is that search tag named text input box. And then we have submit right here. Since I didn't have any break or anything else, that is now in one row. Now past that, if we go down, basically we can see that I also added classes to the div down here when we actually start printing out the images on the screen. So we can see now I have an echo div, a class of picture box. So again, this is going to go back to this gallery style.css. And so now within this picture box class that we've created, that is then what will show the images, and that will, that gives us our border here, our rounded edges, and some of that other formatting. Just so you understand, that's what I've done there. Then, basically, before we go to the gallery search.php, let's take a look at the gallery style.css for a second, just so you understand how the menu bar works. So again, up here at the top, we have a div class equals menu bar. So in the style sheet, we have a class of menu bar. The important thing here is that I put the position to be sticky. What the position sticky does is basically it keeps that menu bar wherever I initially put it on the page. So as I scroll through this feed, this menu bar stays where it's at. So again, that's a useful thing for your users. So position of sticky. The top is at 0 pixels. So basically what this says is put this bar, this class, at the very top of the page. The width is going to be 100%, so it's going to go all the way across. The height is going to be 50 pixels, and then the background color is going to be light gray. So again, when we take a look at this, we can see that the top is at the 0 position point, the width is 100%, and the height is 50 pixels with a background color of light gray. So that's how that works. For the rest of the CSS, we take a look here, we can see that picture box. Basically, that's the div. That's the div for when we're printing everything out. So all of the data about the image, the edit button, the image itself, all are going within that div. And what we can see here is I put a position of relative. So the position of relative basically allows me to center that div in the middle of the screen, a display of block, and then margin hyphen left auto, margin hyphen right auto. So this allows me to center the image in the screen. Then what I want to say is I want the box to be 50% of the width of the screen. So if we take a look at this, we can see that it's 50%. So if we take this side and this side, that all should be equal to that, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a border. It's going to be 2 pixels of solid light gray. So that gives me the border, and the border radius is going to be 25 pixels. So we take a look at this. So the border is 2 pixels of light gray with a border radius of 25 pixels. Then beyond that, what we're going to notice is that the image inside the div also grows and shrinks with the size of the screen. The way that happens is basically I simply assign the image element here, so the img element, I want the width to be 100%. So when I put an image inside the div, it will be 100% the size of the div, and then I want the height to be auto. So essentially as the div resizes itself. So we have the div is going to be 50% the size of the screen, and then the image within the div will be 100% of the div. And that's how we get this CSS to work. Then past that, let's go and actually take a look at the gallery search.php script. So this is the script that then actually prints out our results that we're going to send from this form up here. So let's take a look at this. So basically at the top of this, what we're going to be doing is basically we're going to be writing the HTML just like we did in the gallerydb.php. So again, we're going to be linking to that style sheet, and then we're going to be reprinting out that menu that's at the top of the page so that people don't get stuck. So why that is so right now, if I'm at a gallerydb.php, right, this is what it looks like. So then if I'm searching for, let's say, peanut, right, peanut, I don't want to, again, I don't want a dead end with my application. So when I hit submit, not only is it going to show me the images that are for peanut, but then it will still give me the menu bar here. So if I hit submit again, that will basically clear out. It'll show me all the images, or I can continue to go through and press for turkey or whatever else. So that's why we want to reprint the menu bar, so on and so forth. Then past that, we're then going to go down. We're going to then open up the PHP. And basically what we're going to do here is we're going to create a variable called search tags. And we're going to set the value of that variable to whatever we're posting through as the search tag, right? So here, so basically here, when we input, so when we're posting, whatever the value for search tag is here, we are then going to grab that value and then we're going to assign it to the PHP variable search tags here. Then past that, we have the normal database stuff that we've been dealing with for a while. Again, server name, username, password, DB. We're going to do the connection. If the connection doesn't work, we're going to fail out. But then down here, this is where we're going to do that SQL statement. And with that SQL statement, this is where we're going to do the like. So the SQL statement here is going to be select pick ID, pick name, pick description, pick tags from the pictures table where pick tags are like, and then this is where we do the wildcard in front and the wildcard in back. And then here, this is where we have whatever the value is for search tags. So whatever tag we sent through from this form, that's going to go here. Then we're going to have result equals connection query. And so here, we're then going to do if the results are greater than 0. So if there are more than 0 records with that tag, we're then going to loop through. And so with this, it's the image number variable is going to be the value for pick name. The image description is going to be value for pick description. The image tags is going to be the value for pick tags. And basically, we're just simply reprinting out the stream, like the photo stream, like we normally would, but we're only going to be printing out whatever comes from this particular SQL statement. So when we say dog, then only the records that have a dog in the search tags will show up. And so when we do this while statement, only those images will actually be presented in the results. One of the interesting things here is basically when we go, so again, we're in the gallery search.php script. And so one of the things you'll notice with this particular form is at the top of our demonstration. So when we take a look here, basically, again, this is the gallery search.php form we're at. So here, when we input something, when we hit submit, we're actually going to be submitting back to this particular PHP script, and then it's going to rewrite itself. So that's just something to keep in mind here. And so this is essentially what the script looks like. So we have our initial page like we normally do. At the top of it, we are going to have this div with a class of menu bar. Within that, we are going to have the little search form. Essentially, the search form is going to send whatever text we want to be searched to this particular script. Here is where it turns that, whatever tag we're searching for, into the value for search tags. We then are going to go down here to our SQL statement. Our SQL statement is now going to be a SQL statement. We're going to say from pictures where pick tags are like, and then again, you do the wildcard in front, you do the wildcard in back, and then you put that search tags in the middle, and then we're simply going to print out the results like we would before. The only difference now is the results will be limited to whatever the results are similar to search tags. And that's basically how this script works. So now you know how to search for images based off of tags that are stored within the table of your MySQL database. Again, trying to show you why having a database backend is so important for the application that you're going to be creating, because so many times people focus on the asset. They focus on the image file, they focus on the video file, they focus on the music file or whatever else, and they just simply don't understand, no, the file is important because obviously you have to point to something, but really what we're dealing with is we're dealing with records within that MySQL database table. So the MySQL database table, you have a record. That record has the location of the file, plus it has the name you want to give to the file, plus it has the description of the file, plus it has the tags, plus it has a user account ID, plus it has plus. That's all stored in a record in the table. And then when we go to print out anything, or when we go to actually interact with our application, what we're really doing is we're not really interacting with the images or the audio files or the video files. What we're really doing is we're interacting with the records in the table, and that is simply then printing out using HTML and then pointing to the digital assets that we happen to be trying to point to. And so that's how we use PHP and MySQL in order to create an application like this. I do also want you to understand how important things like CSS then become. A lot of people look at something like CSS and they're like, blah, why do I need to know CSS? Well, if you want a menu bar that actually stays at the top of the screen, then you're going to need to know how to make the position sticky. Right? If you want to create an app that makes sense to end users, that actually, is slightly visually appealing, then you need to need to know a little bit about CSS, again, just for the divs, centering images, resizing images, saying how things should look, so on and so forth. Now, you don't have to go overboard. Again, if you're creating a little application for your organization or your business, or just for yourself, right? Just add a border, center things, make it look good enough, right? You don't have to do a lot of work with CSS, but I would recommend that you do just a little bit. Obviously, if you're dealing with a paying client or if you're trying to impress a boss, then you get really deep into CSS and really make sure that the CSS for your application, really makes your application really pop. But, again, how much CSS you use, that's up to you. A little bit of CSS is just fine. Again, enough CSS to make your application usable is a fine way to go if all you need is a usable application. On the other hand, you may want to spend a day or two really perfecting that CSS if you want your application to really look good, and then you're going to have to figure out things like color schemes and all of that kind of stuff. But the app that I showed you today, again, all we're using is essentially an HTML search form that we simply have in that menu box. We're using that search form. That search form is then going to a PHP script that essentially does a SQL statement where we're using where and like. So, from pictures, where, pick underscore tags, like, and then basically using the wildcard, we then put the value for the variable in the middle of that. And so basically, anywhere where there's a record that has anything like, basically similar to the value that we put in that like statement, that will then show up and that will print out on the screen. And so that's basically how this project works. As always, I enjoy doing this class and look forward to seeing you at the next one. If you like the content that I create, please think about going to EliTheComputerGuy.com and becoming a member or donating. Please understand that all of the educational videos are in front of the paywall. That includes the videos, that includes the notes, the diagrams, and the code example. All of that is freely available and in front of the paywall. But if you want to watch opinion videos, or if you want to be able to comment, you do need to become a member. Membership is $5 a month or $60 a year and gives you access to those opinion videos and the ability to comment. If you don't want to become a member, you just want to give a one-time donation, there's also a donate button where you can do that. Please understand, in order to provide the education that I am, it does cost money. Servers cost money, equipment costs money, travel costs money. All of these things cost a reasonable amount of money, and the fact of the matter is YouTube's advertising program no longer supports creators the way that it used to. So if you want these classes to continue to stick around and you find them to be valuable, please think about either becoming a monthly member or donating a few dollars for this project.